Good morning to all of you. First of all, welcome to the wonderful world of English language. My dear students, as you know very well that today we are going to discuss some basic points from the lesson The Rattrap, which is written by Selma Lagerlöf. And Selma Lagerlöf is great writer of her time and she belongs to Sweden. From the beginning of the chapter, we find out that the whole story revolves around a rat trap seller, and the rat trap seller is the central character of the story. He is the pivot character of the story. And as the story begins, we find out that the man went round selling rat traps of wire. His business was not so profitable. He had to take to begging or small thievery sometimes. His life was very sad. During his wanderings, he often thought of his rat traps. One day, he began to think that the whole world was nothing just like a big rat trap, and we, the people, were already caught in the rat trap, and there are so many others who are not caught in the rat trap. They are still circling round the rat trap to get the bait. One dark evening, the rat trap seller took shelter with a lonely old man who lived in a little cottage by the roadside. The man served him generously the whole night, but while leaving in the morning, the tramp stole the old man's 30 kroner, placed in a leather pouch. In order to escape being caught, the rat trap seller took his way through a forest. But it was the confusing forest, and by the evening he found that he had been roaming about the same place from where he had started. He was feeling dead tired. In order to escape being caught, the rat trap seller took his way through a forest, and whenever he found that he had totally lost his way, he recalled the 30 kroner in his pocket, and he thought about the work which is done by the rat trap seller, and he find that his own turn had come, and now he'll have to caught in the rat trap. So it was the time of late December evening. It was getting dark. He was afraid. Suddenly he heard the hard, regular thumping of a hammer. He got up and walked in the direction of the sound. It was a forgery of the Ramschow ironworks. The master smith allowed him to stay there and warm himself. He was in wet rags and had a long beard. But suddenly the ironmaster came on his nightly inspection, and when he looked at the stranger closely, he took him his own old regimental acquaintance. Captain Wonstale, you? He said in surprise, and pressed him hard to go with him to his house. But the rat trap seller felt embarrassed, and he refused firmly. At last, the ironmaster went away. Before half an hour passed, a carriage stopped at the forgery door. It was the ironmaster's daughter, who had been sent by her father to fetch the peddler. She had come with a valet. The valet was holding a long fur coat on his arm. The young girl spoke to the peddler very softly. She was not pretty, but she was very humble. She was able to win the peddler's confidence. She wanted him to give them company on Christmas Eve. She assured him that he would be free to leave the place whenever he liked. The peddler agreed to go with the young girl. He accepted the fur coat and threw it over his rags. But when the ironmaster looked at him in the broad daylight, he realized his mistake. The man was none of his old acquaintance. He at once ordered him to get out of the house. But the young girl at once pleaded on the peddler's behalf. She said that it was none of peddler's fault. It was just a mistake. Moreover, she didn't want to lose the joy. The father gave in at last, but he said, I only hope you will not have to regret this. Both the ironmaster and his daughter served the peddler as best as they could. The, they made him participate in each of the festivities, but the peddler spent most of his time sleeping on a sofa. It seemed that he had not been able to enjoy everything. Next morning, both the father and the daughter went to church for early morning service. The father was still asleep and they didn't think it proper to disturb him. At the church clock struck the time of prayer, they heard that a man who went about selling rat traps had robbed a poor old man of his 30 kroner. On hearing this, the young girl was badly upset. But when they reached home, they learned that the peddler had already left and had not taken anything at all with him. Instead, he had left a small pocket for a young girl as a Christmas present. But when the girl would find it that the peddler left some you may call it the present for the young girl, she filled with great joy. She at once opened the packet. It contained a little rat trap, three wrinkled 10 kroner notes, and also a letter. The letter said, since you have been so nice to me all day long, I want to be nice to you. You can give back the money to the old man on the roadside. The rat trap is a Christmas present for a rat who would have been caught in the world's rat trap if he had not been thought to captain. And he wrote in the end of the letter as his name Captain Monstale because he wanted to become Captain Monstale. Hence, we find out that this is the only greatness of the young girl by which we come to know that Rattrap seller was also changed himself completely. So my dear friends, after reading this chapter, we came into the conclusion that we should not leave the path of goodness because this is the goodness by which we can change ourselves and we get virtues in our life. I hope this lesson definitely came into your mind, and after reading this chapter you can easily write down all the answers which can be asked to you in your exams. I hope you will definitely like this video. Thank you for watching.